Well, hello, and welcome to the final session here of the Marketing Now book launch mega live stream. This is into the eighth and final hour of all the content that we've put together today. So we've shared some incredible stuff. We've gone through all the book. We've reviewed the tips that have jumped out to the guests today, and we also looked in specific websites and had a look at what would be good actionable insights for the different case studies that we're focusing in on. We've got a few great guests just to finish up today's live stream, get their thoughts on the book, their thoughts on maybe what they're doing at the moment from a marketing perspective, and maybe what they're doing for Christmas. I don't know. We'll see where the conversation goes. We've got I think Virginia in the chat as well. Unfortunately, I can only have 3 people join me as a guest at the same time. So after a bit of time goes by, whoever guest happens to be the most boring, I'll kick them out, and we'll
race to the bottom, guys.
We'll get Virginia back in, so you can vote for who's the. Well, anyway, the thing is, after about the 8th hour, you go live, you get a bit delirious like this, so you just have to bear with me, you know. So anyway, and great to have these guys on board here. We've got Mike King from IPO Rank. Hello, Mike.
Hey. Thanks for having me.
Got Mark. Yeah, great to have you as well. Mark Traphagen from AimClear. Hello, Mark.
Hey, David. Great to be with everybody here.
Great to have you on board as well. And Dennis, you from everywhere around the world, plus metrics.
Welcome. Yeah, London at Facebook headquarters yesterday and Phoenix today.
That is impressive. And sleep at any time in between?
Yeah. I just drink.
We don't know what's in the mug, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for coming on board. We've you've been involved in a few other projects I've done before. It was great to have you involved with this as well. It was a bit of a challenge to produce the content. I did a live stream several months ago and had 130 odd people on there, and had the whole event transcribed, and looked at the transcription and thought, that's not a proper book, because people don't articulate things verbally as they do in terms of writing. So I ended up rewriting everything that everyone said, and then letting you know what I was going to publish and publishing that as a book. And I think that makes a much better book. And you need to take time at trying to get the content to be as good as possible, obviously categorizing everything as well. So let's kind of go around our little panel here and maybe ask everyone what tip resonated with them, and maybe even anything that they did add to that as well. So shall we start with Mark? Mark, you've read a few tips in the book there. Is there anything that jumped out at you as something that you need to be perhaps focusing more on over the coming year?
Well, I think I was encouraged to see, overall, as I scanned through the book, more and more marketers seeming to take more of an integrated approach, and getting outside of their narrow disciplines, whatever, or areas of expertise, whatever it might have been, their comfort zones, learning more about other marketing disciplines, realizing that they have to interface with other people. It was a kind of a trend or a thread I saw through a number of them, and that's encouraging to me, because I think that's our future. To be more integrated, to be talking with each other more, communicating between the silos, opening things up, sharing the information, realizing how much of effective marketing really takes place channel agnostic, cross-channel, cross techniques, cross tactics.
Absolutely. And I remember thinking about the T-shaped marketer a few years ago, and actually towards the end of the book, with everything that was shared, and also with the HubSpot flywheel model that a few people were talking about as well, that also incorporated sales and marketing into the thinking as well as marketing in general. I think that modern marketers not only need to be aware of where their own discipline fits into marketing in general, but also where it fits into sales and integrates with customer service. And indeed, they've got to understand the overall business model as well. But Mark, is that expecting too much of the average marketer?
Well, it's always expecting a lot of the marketer, right? Because we're all so busy. We could definitely spend all the hours in the day and then some just in our own disciplines, just in what we have to do, what's in front of us. But I think that we're beginning to get the best marketers are beginning to get more of a long-term perspective and realize that they've got to break out of just what's going to bring in the sale today to what's going to build the brand, what's going to build the business down to tomorrow. And part of that means investing that time. More and more I find myself just scheduling time to do that, whether it's scheduling time to get educated on other things, look into resources, spend time talking to smarter people, smarter than me in other disciplines and my own. And also in, getting out literally in the office and around, like you said, to the other people, the salespeople, the customer service people. What are they experiencing? What are they hearing? What's coming back to them? These things are, investments in our own future, utility that we've got, just like you would make time if you have a client or you have you're in-house and you have a boss who's assigned you a project, you would make time to get that done. We've got to make time to do those things as well.
Great stuff. Okay. We'll get Mike's and Dennis's thoughts just on that just in a second. But first of all, just for a little bit, I'm going to kick Mark out and see if we can get Virginia in. I know Virginia was struggling a little bit with her internet connection, but we'll try and do that just now, just to see if we can get her back in. So bear with me for a second. Invite on screen. Invite Mark. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Invite Virginia, yes. Sorry for talking that out loud. I just can't carry on a conversation here and attempt to do that at the same time. But I'm the whole thing, just one thing at a time going on. Mike, did was the tip that Mark shared there about getting more aware of what the rest of the marketing department are aware of? Is that something that resonated with you and what most marketers should be focusing on?
Yeah, absolutely. End of the day, marketing is a very collaborative game. You can't really do it all well yourself. And so, being that I primarily live on the technical and organic side, being able to work with people that are like really great at video, really great at paid search, is my ability to do my job well, and then the things I can help them do makes so that their sites ultimately work better and their marketing mixes work better. So yeah, I completely agree. And then the more that I learn about what they do, the better I get at what I do, and vice versa. I'm a big proponent of that type of collaboration, and I think it all kind of stems from effective content strategies, understanding your audience, and all these things, based on what I read in the book. It seems like you're touching on all that stuff as well. So I was really, struck by how comprehensive the book was, but also effective in like giving you stuff that was like actionable for all the different types of marketing you could be doing.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not trying to cover too much, because obviously marketing involves so much nowadays. I remember back 10, 15 years ago when I was first involved in digital marketing and digital marketing training, I could produce a course over one day that covered everything that worked in digital marketing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember the last course that I attempted to do that for was in it was about 6 years ago, about 2013, and it took me about 24 hours of content, but I still wasn't there, and I just gave up. I thought I can't train people in digital marketing and train them on everything and expect to know everything myself to a decent level. And nowadays, of course, I'm broadening it from digital marketing to marketing, but incorporating it in one book. And
Sure.
It's tough. You can't do everything, but I'm not trying to be all-encompassing about each subject. It's one small tip about an individual topic and encouraging people to go and find out more. And I think it's a good starting point, and you kind of need a starting point.
Yeah, and congratulations on, effectively hitting the target on what you're trying to do. I think it's a really good book.
Thanks. Yeah, appreciate it. Hey, Virginia, how you doing there? Hopefully you can hear us okay.
Yeah, I found a nice little spot.
That's good. It's good. I appreciate you coming on. Sorry for kicking you off, but it was probably the right thing to do, just to keep the conversation
fun
going.
Game of musical chairs, yeah. And I saw Mark's comment that he's already kicked off the island, but it's it's really just a rotating door.
Exactly, yeah. So Virginia, Nasi is obviously Director of Marketing for Mobile Monkey, and I appreciate you coming on. So, I mean, just get to Dennis in a second there, but Virginia, Mark's initial point was any marketer, any channel marketer needs to understand more broadly what is happening in other areas of marketing now. Do you think there's any place for a specialist channel marketer just to zone on and be a specialist and not spend the time to find out what's happening elsewhere? Is that more valuable in any instance nowadays?
I think that if that's your preference, then you can definitely find a good organization that matches what you love to do. I mean, that was another one of the points that seemed to resonate, which was, you'll be more successful if you find your groove, if you're doing your passion. So you can learn from other people, you can be supported by other marketers' strengths, and you can also, like zone in, or you can continue to broaden your personal practice. It's kind of a nice choice, and I think that that's one of the things about the modern marketer. I don't know, I wasn't there, but I think of like advertising and marketing like in the 50s as a very like kind of madman specialty. Is all about copy, and not that that's, I mean, we have commonalities as marketers, things that we love to tell stories, things that we love to dig into data, like there's certainly, we all pull from this kind of collective passion, but you can also niche down to, if that's your thing, you probably have a specialty, something to speak of.
Dennis, I know that recently you've been involved a lot with Facebook advertising, and I see quite a few Facebook advertising experts that position themselves as experts in that. Do you think there's value in them just focusing in on that, or do you think, as well as being experts in that, to be the best experts at that particular subject, they also need to work with other areas of marketing as well?
Well, even if you are world-class at SEO like Mike, or chatbots like Virginia, you still have to be responsible for the business result, right? If you can't drive the sales or the leads or the traffic, it really doesn't matter. And thus, there's a separation increasingly between the strategy and the tactics. And the strategy is the goals, content, and targeting. And by definition, it's channel independent. So I can't tell you how many people come to me and they say, oh, I'm a social media strategist. No, you're not. Oh, I'm an SEO strategist. No, you're not. Because SEO is not a strategy. That's tactical. If things change all the time, that's tactical. If it's tools driven, I love Mobile Monkey, but that is not a strategy. That's a tactic, right? Strategy will never change. Now, the more tools there are, the smarter the algorithms become, the less reliance we need on technical pieces. So the stronger, ironically, we have to be at the core of the strategy. And that's why a lot of marketers are being pulled way out of their depth, like Mark was talking about earlier before he got kicked off, on how we have to be able to broaden our skills and what we know, because we have to master the strategy component. And then as a T-shaped marketer, go deep in Facebook ads, go deep in email copy, go deep in, landing page building, whatever kind of that. And I think that's the problem that's happening, is that so many people are trying to go so tool specific because they don't have the patience to learn beyond just like a hack, that they miss the fundamentals of coming at it from the standpoint of the business. Whether they're in-house or they're an agency, you still are accountable to driving leads and sales at a certain cost per.
So when I was talking to Brad Geddes earlier on, I asked him, when digital marketers were starting out, whether or not they should be generalists or focus in on one particular thing, and he said absolutely they should focus on one particular thing to begin with. So do you agree with that people should be specialists first of all, then move to understand strategy to be better at their jobs?
Well, having a particular skill is easier to get a job because you're known as being able to implement one thing. You're known as a great videographer. You're known being really good at Google Ads. But you very quickly, if you want to make money, if you want to have clients, if you want to start a business, if you want to be a marketing consultant, if you want to be great in-house, you quickly have to learn how to bring all the other pieces together. So it is kind of a chicken and the egg. I don't think that you need to, I mean, maybe as a starting point, it's easier to start with the tool because it's easier to distinguish. But if you're still saying that you're the Instagram expert, or you just do this one thing after 2 or 3 years, then either you're a narrow consultant, which is fine, or if you're not, then you need to learn how to drive sales and go across all these other components. And I find that, because we coach a lot of agencies, I find that those agencies, even if they're known as doing social media or known as doing, SEO, they actually, if you look at what they teach, they actually go across the entire spectrum. You guys are pros.
Hey, Dennis, can I get that in writing when you call me world class at SEO?
Absolutely. You got this recording here, right?
It was recorded.
Yeah.
I'll send you the recording. Yeah.
My Paul has been around since the early. He's an OG, right? Years.
Word. Yo, no, but seriously, I actually agree with that. I think that all right, so I look at it both ways. It goes back to what you're saying as far as like the T-shaped marketer. Like I think that, if you really learn one channel, it's easy to really learn other channels. And if you're just like, okay, I only do this one thing, and you don't allow yourself to like really understand the interplay between channels, you're going to be a one-trick pony. And so let's say you are amazing at organic social, and then all the algos started like turning down the organic reach. Well, then if you didn't learn how to be better at like the paid social, then you're completely obsolete. So I definitely agree that if you are someone who's starting, you should start for one thing, but once you feel like you've mastered that, learn the other channels to some degree as well.
So Mike, just before we kick you out,
hey, I was trying to be interesting so I don't get kicked out.
What's one tip from the book that resonated with you that you'd like to share?
Dang, now you put me on the spot. What was the thing you were saying about video? I was reading that. I was like, damn, I got to step my video game up.
There were quite a few tips about video. I'll tell you what I really liked about video. Marcus Sheridan. He was saying that what he gets people to do is he gets a salesperson in the business to record a video of the 7 top questions that customers have or are likely to have about a particular product or service. And he insists that the prospect watches this video before they actually have a one-to-one conversation with a consultant in the business. And he said it saves the customer time and it saves the prospect time as well. So he integrates that into the whole funnel that they do, and that's the most successful video by far that he has in his business and what he recommends to clients.
Yeah, and so again, I was reading like the video section, and I was so struck by like, oh, video is the move. Like we're literally building in my new office a video space. We just ordered all this equipment. So yeah, I'm completely on board as far as video stuff. So thanks for that one.
So what does that mean in practice for you? Does that mean that you're going to be doing a lot more live streaming or pre-recorded videos? So where are you going to be using the videos?
Yeah, so I mean, we like piloted this thing that I call rank and file, and thus far, if you watch it, it just looks like I'm copying Whiteboard Friday. But basically, we're using it to do like multiple different types of videos. So I filmed a few where I'm doing green screen stuff, and so there's a bunch of like kinetic typography, and we just want to keep changing it up so the format is interesting to the watcher, user, whatever, every time. And it's a way for us to just like showcase the expertise in video, and it's also a way easier way for me to create content. Reading your tips, also talking to some people like Ross Hudgens, talking to Rand, like how much video has been impactful for them. I just keep, the more I'm reading up on this, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, I really got to double down on video. So 2020, we're just going to do a lot more video with the key thing that we're doing is these rank and file videos. But now my team has the opportunities to do whatever they want as well, and we've got like motion graphics designers and things, and we're really just going to blow out this this format in a way that we hadn't before.
Superb. And I mean, where are you going to be publishing the videos? Are you going to be publishing them on social media? Are you going to be publishing them on your own server or platform?
Right. So I think the play is, they're primarily going to live on iPullRank.com on our blog. And we're using Wistia. We're using their turnstile feature so we can use it to capture leads and everything. But we'll also do like, little snapshots and things on on YouTube and so on. And then we're going to do more like, I hate to say it, but like kind of behind the scenes stuff, like when I'm traveling to conferences and I'm talking my ish, and, you know, I'm just like showing more of the personality behind our business. So you'll just find like random things on Instagram. And, you know, the other thing that I've been playing with internally is doing, you know, more like, personality focused things. So for example, if you've seen anything Will Smith has done in the last year on Instagram, it's like really engaging, really interesting, and you learn more about this guy, but it's also like well designed and things like that. So yeah, bottom line is I'm just going hard with video in 2020 just to see, you know, what happens.
Superb stuff. Look forward to seeing more of it. So I'll just kick you out just now, but hopefully we'll get you back in a bit. I'll just get Mark Traphagen's thoughts on video on your tip as well. So thanks, Mike. Here we go. Get Mark back in. And Virginia, I know that Mobile Monkey is obviously embracing video quite a bit. Loads of live streams and virtual summits, but also broadcasting directly into Monkey Island as well.
Yeah, Facebook groups is a really high engagement, you know, community aspect. We're looking at more and more people spending time in their kind of smaller communities and like public broadcasting. I think it's interesting that the video section of the book is also called the brand and the authenticity. Like you've combined these three topics together: video, authenticity, and brand into one section, where, you know, the different tips all come together. A lot of the tips related to video seem to talk about not striving for perfection, being okay to be, you know, more authentic, as though that's the opposite of perfection, and being impromptu, doing live streams, stuff like that. And I think live stream is it's a tactic that works. It's worked for me at Mobile Monkey, but I wonder. I have this mental block of being that transparent in video. Besides live streaming, but like I'm just afraid to go there. Like, you know, stories for my brand, for myself. Okay, that's one thing. Even though I'm a little bit shy, but like I see, Dennis, you're nodding your head.
Oh, sorry, I muted Dennis because there was some weird noise coming from there. Sorry, Dennis, would you like to try again?
Totally agree with Virginia. So I had breakfast yesterday in London with Facebook, and we were sharing some amazing tips for 2020, especially around video, exactly what Mark is saying. And I felt that fear. I think all of us do about, my goodness, I don't want to press the button because I feel like an idiot and all these people are going to watch. I'm in the airport. I don't want to look like a douchebag. But then I'm interviewing him from Facebook headquarters, and here we're talking about, you know, what it's like there, and the candy bar they have and the food they have and what's it like. And we're giving, so rather than it being on me and my hair's not good, I don't even have any hair. It's about I'm just sharing. Like, I feel like it's selfish for us not to share. So, you know, my tip to you, Virginia, which is what's worked for me, is we have an obligation to share what we're learning, and we're it's like they're with us and we're passing that experience, right? Because have you had the breakfast at Facebook in London, right? Have you seen their amazing spread there? Would you like to come with me and experience that, right? And that's the way I feel when I'm going live or making video.
That's how
I love that. It's all about perspective, isn't it? I'm not saying I'm not nervous or don't want to do certain things as well. I mean, I don't particularly love sharing personal things or stories, and I haven't really embraced Instagram. I've embraced certain aspects of live streaming, but that personal thing is a challenge for me as well. I thought I'd just go silent there to see if anyone wanted to carry on the conversation there. But I tell you, Mike was saying in the chat about your videos, Mark, that you've already crushed it with a video series. Do you want to talk a little bit about the success that you've had with the video series that you've done?
Well, first of all, thanks, Mike, for making me talk about an agency that I'm not with, you know, promoting. I don't mind. I had 5 incredible years with Eric Enga, and just so thankful for every moment of it, and especially for the opportunity that Eric gave and the risk he was willing to take. And I think, Eric's a very technical guy, one of the most technical, adept people I've ever known, but he saw the value of taking creative risk and getting yourself out there and doing something. So we wanted to do a video series, but we started out like everybody else. We were just standing, two talking heads, boring white guys standing in front of a white wall with a whiteboard, just talking at each other. And what gave us the kick in the rear end was when Facebook went to autoplay videos. And, the video would just start playing people's streams. We realized, like, this is an opportunity. You've got a few seconds here to make people stop scrolling and say, what's going on there? So we started the little, with our Here's Why series, we started the little 30-second skits at the beginning. And they were, the authenticity was there because if you watch any of them, we were not striving for perfection. Nobody was going to give us any drama awards. But, they were goofy, they were silly, we were self-deprecating, making fun of ourselves. And where the experiment paid off, and the hunch that we had, because we were after high-level enterprise B2B type of clients. And everything in the conventional wisdom is you have to do, serious white papers, blah, 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 for that, that sort of audience. But we knew even at the C-level, they're people too. They want to like the people they're going to work with. They want to feel like you're real. But the information has to be there too. So we kept the skits short. You get a little bit of entertainment. You get enough to say, like, what are these goofy guys doing? And then we plunged right into the real information, the real meat of it. We did well over 200 episodes of that, won all kinds of awards for it. But the biggest award was the clients and prospects who told us that they would gather their entire staff on a Monday around the video screen over lunch or something like that to watch the latest Here's Why video. So that's kind of on the other end of the spectrum, doing something a little bit more produced, a little bit more planned, but still with that idea of being entertaining, engaging, and being human to your audience with video.
Virginia, does this tempt you to be doing more video in any way?
I mean, yes. So there's you guys with Here's Why. It's such a great example. I was one of those people hanging around my agency when a new video came out. We would all love to watch those. Being self-deprecating is a good tip. Thinking about it as kind of like a value or a gift that you're going to be able to give your viewers is another great tip, like Dennis said. So
yeah, I love what Dennis was sharing about it's actually not serving your audience well if you don't share, if you're having special experiences that they may not experience, and you're giving them an opportunity to see over your shoulder exactly what's happening, then it's what they would want to see as well. So I love that train of thought.
It's not like what Mark is doing, going on a limb and showing some personality. And we've done a lot of training on digital and Facebook ads and PPC and this kind of thing. And I'm going to get your take on this. So we've taken all the tips that we teach around how do you do a 1-minute video, how do you drive engagement, how do you optimize an ad, how do you bid properly. I took all those things. I wrote a list of these items, put them on my phone, and then started filming them from cool places around the planet. Like here in Amman, Jordan, at the Temple of Hercules, right? You can see I'm actually teaching this. A lot of folks have asked us about how to do video editing, whether it's for a major brand or and it's the exact same content, but like Mark said, because there's personality, because it's more interesting, it's like the younger generation needs to be like visually stimulated, even if what you have to say is neat. So like here's one, like I'm actually at one of the columns there, and we're making it visually interesting. How do we show up? But here I'm showing what do you do when you go to a meeting? What do you do before, during, and after with the meeting minutes, inviting people to the go-to meeting, assigning tasks before, during, and after meeting. Have you guys, I'm just curious, like, have you guys tried taking your training material and then just put it in interesting places, same training material versus the conference room or the bookcase in the background, right? Have you seen like what the impact is, plain versus interesting?
I love it. In the chat, Mike King just said, I rapped at Machu Picchu once. top that. Like, you got to send it. You got to post that video somewhere. I want to see that, definitely.
I've been to Machu Picchu, but I didn't rap there. Dennis, have
And we're all
you?
thankful for that, probably, David, right?
I could have sung Elvis there, maybe. Dennis, have you tried TikTok? Have you experimented with TikTok?
I have, but I find that I'm not as humorous and funny as interesting. I'm more about sharing things that will cause you to go as opposed to things that are silly. And our audience tends to be not like 18 years old, but I definitely I feel like there is an angle because we are trying to train up young adults and be relevant. And the fact that I don't understand is not the fact that TikTok's not a great platform. It means that there's a lot of learning I still have to do.
I tell you who loves TikTok, Dwayne Forrester. I was on a
Can't stop
webinar
him
with him.
talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's supposed to. I mean, Gary Vee is certainly saying that the two places for organic reach at the moment are TikTok and LinkedIn.
Yeah,
it seems to be quite interesting. We should be thinking about maybe getting Mike in again. But
Yeah, kick me off if he'll rap.
I
mean, I hear he's semi-retired, but.
Virginia, I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to look through the book and actually select a tip that maybe resonated with you. So I mean, you're nodding away. So what tip would you like to share with the audience that you think is something that you're going to be looking at over the coming months?
Oh my, there was a bunch that I marked up for this talk. But how to pick just one. Okay. Just the one that I opened to. This tip by Emmerich Erno is that companies that focus on monetization and retention as well as just acquisition are growing 3 times faster than companies that focus on acquisition, which is a good reminder to me personally in, the focuses and priorities, the things that I prioritize. A lot of times, you look at that big in marketing, I think of my North Star metric as acquiring leads, but it is being a full funnel marketer and looking at retention and engagement and conversion. So
absolutely. In fact, I've got that recording of lined up of Emmerich saying that originally. So I think in 10 minutes or so when we close out, I'll finish it off with Emmerich actually sharing that, because that was a lovely tip that really sent the message home to marketers that you need to be focusing on the whole business. You need to understand the whole business and how your activities are impacting the business model in general, and how you can perhaps even advise the business on improving the business model as well. It's not just marketing by itself.
Can I say something in general about the book, David?
Please, Mark.
Just as I look at it, I think the value, like any book, it's good to sit down and read all the way through it. You're going to get a lot of benefit if you do that. But I think one of the things after you've done that, like, keep the book around. It's a kind of book to me that I think great value of it is just from time to time, just pick it up and just open randomly almost. You're going to get inspired, or go to a chapter that's about a topic that you don't know as much about or that you're struggling with, and just read a few of the tips. I think it's one of its greatest values is just that for inspiration, for sparking off other ideas. You may get an actual tactic or tip that you can use and apply immediately. But I think the bigger value of something like this is, as you're reading all these brilliant people and seeing all their perspectives, it broadens your own perspective, and hopefully it gets your own creative juices going. It stimulates your own thinking, your own ideas. So to me, it's kind of like a marketing devotional that I want to come back to on a regular basis and just get into and get inspired. It's a chance to have a conversation with people that you've wanted to sit down to the table with and hear from. These are the kind of things that if you go to a digital marketing conference and you get to sit with Virginia or with Dennis or with Mike or with David, having drinks late at night or whatever, you're going to hear the kind of things that are in this book. So it's that kind of opportunity. Really, thank you for putting it together, David.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for being a part of it as well. And I'd just like to highlight that all these individual tips that we're mentioning here, they're not necessarily the best ones. You know, as you say, Mark, you can stumble upon through the book and find something that is right for you and you personally, and what's right for you, Mark, might be completely different to what's right for someone else that happens to be listening. I've highlighted 10 tips that I thought resonated with me in the final chapter, but that's not to say that those are the best tips in the book. It's simply to say that those are the ones that resonated with me, and to encourage the reader to go out and actually select 10 themselves and perhaps run with them and make a difference themselves. I mean, I love what Joe Com said, actually, tip 130. He was saying you're going to have your greatest success when you're in your sweet spot. And he was saying that the way I've worked in the past, I've often grafted hard without following my passion. And when he did follow his passion and he didn't graft that hard, that's where he had his greatest success. And me personally, I have worked, hard in the past on a few different things, and maybe had moderate success, and then focused in on areas that I'm more passionate about and had more success. So that particularly resonated with me. Dennis, what are your thoughts on that one? Do you think that marketers, people in general, need to focus on things that they're entirely passionate about to be as successful as they can be?
Well, look at how passionate you are. And do you know anybody on the planet who has organized as many like marathon live streams with digital marketing experts as you, over and over again? Right? And I say that the passion and the effort and the expertise are all actually one and the same. You can't have one with the other components. And look at the level of content that you're able to produce, because you've pulled in all these other experts. And like you said earlier, you only know so much as one person, but look at the crowd that you've assembled and put them into marketing now. You are like the ultimate curator of digital marketing knowledge. So if anybody can talk about this, it would be you. And I try to follow in what I've learned from you, David, from even years ago when we first started doing these things. So 4 days ago, I was in Huntsville, Alabama, and my buddy Colin Wayne, who's a fitness model, but also started the largest home furnishings company in the United States, mass production. I got a tour of his factory, 115,000 square feet. And while we were there, he pulled out his phone and he went live with me and saying, "Hey, I'm here with Dennis and we're here in the factory and we're going to give away one of the new items that you guys have never seen before." And so he produces these ornaments made of steel. They're incredible. And in that one live stream, we got 10,000 comments in a matter of 15 minutes. And I don't know how to do that. If I went live, I might get like 20 comments, right? But I was there during the live stream, filming him going live, asking him later, "What did you do, Colin?" And he explained, he broke down tips. For example, he knew that 3 times the audience would watch later than live. So in the beginning, while he was going live, he said, "And if you're watching on the live stream, make sure that you click share and do this and that," right? And so different things like this, where he has a particular technique. And if you watch the technique, and you interview these other experts and you share that, then you and Mark and me and Virginia are more like journalists. We're interviewing other people that have expertise and we're sharing it. We're just a conduit for what other people know.
Absolutely great advice. And I've obviously learned so much from people like you, Dennis, from Mark, Virginia, Mike, everyone else in the book as well. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to have conversations with people who are so passionate and so knowledgeable about anything or any particular subject in relation to marketing. And the crazy thing is, with the technology that's available to us now and the ability to produce podcasts and live webinars and virtual summits, if you want to do this kind of thing, you can do it too. There's no limit. It's all about whether or not you really want to do it and whether it's valuable to you personally and valuable to your business. It's an opportunity that's open to everyone. Rant over. I should really also get Mike back on to say a final goodbye. We're actually about 2 minutes before the end. Guys, I really, really appreciate you coming on. It's been a great conversation. I didn't particularly plan this session out at all because I thought, it's Mike, it's Dennis, it's Mark, it's Virginia. What would we possibly need to plan? It's just going to be a wonderful conversation. So, and I knew it would be, and it certainly has been. So, thank you again for coming on. Mark, would you like to share with the audience a little bit more about you and where people can find you online?
Sure. Well, you can find me online at my name. I'm everywhere on all the social, on all the things, at Mark Traphagen. I have thank my parents for giving me an SEO friendly name. I rank for everything. And otherwise, you find me around AimClear, building integrated strategies, bringing all the channels together. We've got some amazing people on board there. I'm getting to work with some of the most fantastic people in my entire career. And at 62 years old, sometimes I feel like my life is just beginning. And I love that. I love going to work every day. We're in the best industry in the world. I know everybody in this chat agrees with that. So, David, thank you so much for pulling us together. It's always a joy. It's always a highlight of our holiday season.
Thank you so much for being part of it, and I really hope that we can all do it together for many years to come. That'd be wonderful. Well, thanks again, Mike. Mark, I'm going to kick you off just now and get Mike on to say goodbye as well. So thanks, Mark.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hopefully we can get Mike back on there as well. But in the meantime, Dennis, thanks again for coming on. Always a pleasure to have you on. Always have incredible insight from you. Where can the listener, the viewer, indeed, find out more about you and what you do?
You see right up here, LinkedIn. Join LinkedIn. I'm at 22,000 followers. 30,000 is the limit, so plenty of room. Join me. I'd love to connect. And kudos to you, David. I mean, 8 hours. I don't think I could even talk for an hour. My goodness, you must take like endurance training or pills or something.
Yeah, just hard drugs. That's all it takes. It's I don't feel too bad actually. The thing is, you just have to pace yourself a little bit. You don't get crazily excited, and I'm not the guy that's talking all the time. There's other people that are coming on and talking all the time. So really, it's me just speaking for a couple of hours out of the 8. So it's doable. Well, wonderful. You heard the man. Find him on LinkedIn. Thanks again, Dennis. Great to have you on.
Bye, Dennis.
And we don't have to kick Dennis off immediately. We can keep him on.
Dennis never got kicked off.
Yes.
Oh, your battery's just about to go, isn't it, Virginia?
Our batteries are gone.
So yeah, Virginia, thanks again for coming on. Virginia, where can people find more about you online?
I am, you can find me, we can connect on all the places, Virginia Nessie. And we have a roaring community at Mobile Monkey Island, which is a Facebook group, which is just marketers, all chatting our best tips and sharing our case studies and cheering each other on and supporting each other. And conversations like this, a lot of people that you've talked to today, David, are part of that community, and it's a really fun place. So I have to send that out there. But this has been an amazing conversation. You're right. I'm so glad to be part of it. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks for sharing awesome tips and wisdom, all of you. And yeah, take care and happy holidays.
Thank you, Virginia. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll chat again at some point in the future.
We will chat again. Yeah.
Yes.
Very soon.
All the best then. And Mike, sorry for kicking you out.
It's all good. It's all good.
So would you like to share with the audience where people can find
it's cool when you
online?
kick me out, because then I don't have to think about like what facial expressions I'm making while I'm not talking. So it's cool. Anyway, yeah, so you can find me at iPullRank.com. I'm iPullRank on all the socials and things like that. And yeah, thanks for having me as well. Also thanks for having me involved with the creation of, this and the book. And a lot of things that you've worked on in the last couple of years. It's been cool to be a part of these like marathon sessions. A couple of them I showed up with a toddler and newborns and things like
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
I have good memories of being involved in all the stuff that you've been doing. So, you know, much success with the book. Everybody watching it, buy 5 copies, give them out as stocking stuffers. Everybody will learn something. And yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks, and it's great to have you on. And I think you'll do brilliantly with all your video projects because you've got such a fun, crazy personality as well. You know, I love even the fact that your name on Twitter is My Cool King, and MY. It's just cool. It's just you, but
Thank you.
it works really well.
Yeah, someone told me to change that once. They were like, "You're so cocky. You can't be my cool king." I'm like, "All right, it's my name spelled differently. Relax."
It's brilliant. It's cool. It works well. So as promised, what I'm going to do is just go out with Emmerich Erno's tip with companies that focus on monetization and retention. So we'll finish up on that. Thanks again, guys. Great to have everyone watching. And if you want your copy of the book, go to davidbain.com/marketing now. We'll catch you again some other time soon. Bye-bye for now.
Companies that focus on monetization and retention as well as acquisition are growing 3 times faster than companies that just focus on acquisition. And I see many companies that are just focusing their energy, budget, and people on acquiring new customers and getting more visibility and getting more leads and prospects and clients. And it's cool to do that, but it's very hard. It's probably the hardest thing to do, especially when you have an ongoing business and an existing business. And companies that know how to spread their energy and resources and people across monetization, which is, you know, what you sell and what you sell it for, and how much you charge it for, and retention as well as acquisition are growing much faster. So my big advice, and we're applying that to ourselves, is stop focusing so much on acquiring new customer and start thinking on how you can monetize them better, how you can charge their products and services more appropriately and more, you know, for more value and get more money out of your existing clients.